would say that's confirmation that this second nest, his nest, is gone. In the back, yeah, it looks bigger, I think. The hole is bigger. But you can see the nest out of there. I guess when the nest starts coming out of the hole, you know the nest is dead. Today is Labor Day. And Labor Day? Yeah, Labor Day. And our first reading is from 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. And Paul tells us that not to worry that the people who are asleep, in other words, dead, aren't lost. That when Jesus comes, he'll come. Wait, no. When the time comes, I think it's the angels of Jesus will come and collect the people who've already died, believers, those who are destined for heaven, and take them first, and then the people who are still alive at the time of the second coming will then be brought up in a cloud. And I think that's where some denominations or churches, I don't know what you call them, people who don't believe in the church Jesus founded, i.e. the Catholic Church, called the rapture, I think. But then our gospel, I believe it's Luke chapter 4, and it's the story when Jesus gets up at the synagogue, unrolls a scroll, or picks out a scroll, and says that it says that that it is an acceptable time where prisoners are set free, the blind can see, etc., etc. And then Jesus says, he says, "This you are seeing right now. This is the time. This is that time. I am the one that's coming to that this would be initiated by." And they're happy, and they're happy about his gracious words. But then they start asking, "Isn't this the carpenter's son?" And I forget what else they said. And then apparently he doesn't do miracles or can't do miracles. And the people don't believe him. The thing about a prophet is only he isn't listened to in his own town. And here's my father's witch's brew. My father was, a manager of a supermarket, and he had this is not an advertisement. He had at Christmas, they would have displays. The candy people would come and bring a display. And one year, they brought a display with a, quote, life-size witch. And when it was done and they were going to throw it away, my father, the candy guy, my father asked the candy salesman what he was going to do with it, throw it away. He said, "Can I have it?" "Sure." So my father rigged it up in a tree, in a pine tree we had, a 30-foot pine tree in the front yard. And then he hooked a cable up to our front stoop, and a cable down into the bottom in the trunk of the tree where you couldn't see. And he had me sitting there with a, quote, life-size witch hidden up in the branches of the tree. And when the kids would come and knock on the door, I would let this witch come flying down the cable and let out a witch cackle. And the kids would turn and see this witch flying down out of the tree right at them, and they would go bonkers. Anyway, I don't know how that bottle, and my father used that little bottle, I think, as extra weight to help the witch come flying down. Anyway, so then the people start questioning Jesus, and Jesus says, "Well, this isn't surprising. Wasn't it to a foreigner that when there was a famine It was to a foreigner that God sent. I forget who it was. Jeremiah. No, he sent a prophet to help a foreigner out, not the people of Israel. And then wasn't it a foreigner, Naaman, the general, who had leprosy, who God sent someone to heal that leper, not a Jew. So the people then were mad because they were the, quote, they're the chosen one. I can't say quote again. They're the chosen one. And to say that basically God turned his back on you and helped the foreigner, helped Naaman, the Syrian or whatever. So they were angry and they walked him to the precipice of the town and were going to throw him off. And then Jesus turned around and walked through the crowd. And I always picture him just kind of floating through, and they like can't touch him. Like he just turns around and floats through like a cartoon. I always think of SpongeBob. I don't know why. Just floating right across in front of all these people. And so what is the message? Well, I don't know. Let's say that in the first reading, we know that Jesus tells us that we know that Jesus rose, and we know that people are alive after death, and some are in heaven and some are in hell. And Jesus promises that. So as we talked about last week, we have to be ready. And in today, we know that people, my father used to say, Jesus Christ on the cross wouldn't satisfy some people. Here was Jesus telling them this wonderful thing was going to happen, that it was the time of God, and you, this group at the synagogue are witnessing the beginning of this, and they're happy. But then like the seed that goes on the side of the road and falls in the rocks, it doesn't take long before they're not happy and they're grumbling at Jesus and literally bringing him to a precipice to kill him. And as we know, he will later be brought to a cross for that, because the people weren't satisfied. God gives us a way to go, and it's Jesus. He started telling the people back, 4,000 years ago with the Jews, and then carried into the obvious into Jesus, and now here we are continuing to follow the words of Jesus and being led by the Holy Spirit in his Catholic Church. So you wrap that up however you want it. Just remember to follow Jesus and know that he has a place for you when you die, and each one of us is guaranteed that we're going to die sometime. So you got to be ready. That's all you need to know.